Readers A42 back with another deck review today. Another Waddingtons deck. The Waddingtons Star Trek deck. So let's have a look. Alright, so this is the Star Trek deck from Waddingtons. And it says Waddingtons Star Trek playing cards. Number 1, superior quality on the front with the original SIP. Star Trek Waddingtons number 1 playing cards on one side and the other. Waddingtons on top. Little ad copy on the bottom, and in the back again Waddingtons number 1 playing cards, superior quality, submitted faces, StarTrek.com, little ad copy, trademark stuff. It's from 2009, so it's not new. It's actually pretty hard to find. And then nothing on the flaps. So inside you get ad cards. This is the back design. It's a little bit disappointing. It's nice, but it's also a little bit disappointing because it is all this ad copy on the side here. But it says Waddingtons number 1 Star Trek, and you see all the captains from the different series. Captain Kirk from the original series, Picard from Next Generation, Archer from Enterprise, Cisco from Deep Space Nine, Janeway from Voyager, one of my favorite series, alongside Next Generation, I suppose, and Spock is on there as well for the hell of it. And then you get another ad card as well. The back design, there is smooth plastic coated finish. The Jokers feature Q. He's just a fun little character who is on a few episodes of Next Generation, also a couple at least of Voyager. He's a omnipotent figure. It says Joker in the 4 corners as well. Both Jokers are the same. Yes, he's the Joker. Now, the spades represent Next Generation. I'll tell you that. The hearts represent Enterprise. The clubs represent Voyager and Deep Space Nine, which is a little bit of an irritation for me. And the diamonds represent the original series. All the aces feature the ships. So you see USS Enterprise D. And then we go into different characters. Reginald Barclay, who really is more of a recurring character, but why not include him? George LaForge, who is the engineer. Ensign Rowe. Data, who is the android. Wesley Crusher, son of Wesley. Deanna Troy, the counselor. Beverly Crusher, the doctor. Although there was another one in the 2nd season due to issues with creators, and they eventually brought her back. Worf, who's a Klingon. It's only Picard, of course, the captain. The Kings are the captains. And William Riker, the first officer. And we also have a Borg. We are Borg. You will be assimilated. And Tassayar, who also was only there for the 1st season. Although, the actors did come back in a different role a little bit. So going on to the hearts, you got the Enterprise NX-01. Enterprise, if you're not familiar with it, is a series that follows the first crew on a ship like this, going about 10 or 15 years or 20 years, whatever it was, before Captain Kirk in the original series. So it's kind of interesting. You got Malcolm Reed, Travis Mayweather, who was the ensign, Jose Sato, who was communications. My apologies. And it's T'Pol, who was basically the first officer. She's a Vulcan. Charles Tucker III, aka Chip, who was the engineer. Jonathan Archer, who was the captain, also known for Quantum Leap, another cool show. Orion Chick. Dr. Phlox, who was... what species was he? I forgot what he was. But he has numerous wives, and they're all cool with it. And then Dorian, this is actually the commander of the Andorians. I forget his name. It's been a while. Suliban, another species. A random Klingon as well. And a random Vulcan. I forgot what his name was. Not that it matters, I guess. Then we go on to the clubs, which have Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager on it. really annoyed at the fact that I got, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 7 cards, 8 technically representing Deep Space Nine, and only 5 representing Voyager, which is my favorite series. It really feels like they screwed over Star Trek Voyager. Apologize about my parents in the background. So the Ace of Spades is USS Voyager, which is a cool series where they end up in a distant quadrant of the galaxy that humans had never been to before, and they got to travel back 80 years worth of travel. And then there's Deep Space Nine, which also follows humans going into a quadrant they hadn't explored before. The Gamma Quadrant. This one is Delta Quadrant. But this one revolves around the space base. Deep Space Nine, DS9. So you got Benjamin Sisko, the captain, Deep Space Nine. Odo, who's a shapeshifter. Miles O'Brien, who's the engineer. He was also on. My parents are really loud, I apologize. So he was also on Next Generation for a while. Quark, who's a Ferengi. They're the butt joke, basically. Ezri Dax. This is one that annoys me because she was only here for the last season. Throughout the rest of the series, the other 6 seasons, there was a different Dax, Jadzia Dax, who left to do other things, and so she was replaced. And I really felt that she should have been here instead of Ezri. But it's what it is. I guess they're focusing it on the cast members at the end. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Not really. And there's Kieran Nerys. Julian Besser, who is the doctor. And then we get on to Voyager. So we had Catherine Janeway, who was the captain. 7 of 9, who was a Borg. Chakotay, who was the first officer. And Neelix, who was the ambassador. Missing includes Harry Kim, who was the ensign forever. Tom Paris, who was the pilot. B'Elanna Torres, his wife, who was part Klingon, who was the engineer. Massive, massive missing characters, in my opinion. And not to mention there was Elix's girlfriend in the first 3 seasons, who was replaced by 7, basically, on the cast. But I forget what her name was, for some reason. And also missing is the Doctor, who was a hologram, who doesn't have an actual name. Another major character is missing. Him and B'Elanna, to me, should have been in this for sure. Tom as well. Harry, maybe. Should have been. It's really unfortunate. And then we get into the Diamonds, which is the original series, which has the original Enterprise. Leonard McCoy, who is the Doctor. Rich Ribbles, little stuffed furry creatures. Captain Kirk, obviously, James T. Kirk. Pavel Chekhov, Mugato, Uhura, I think it was Communications, Randall Klingon, Montgomery Scotty, who was the engineer, a random Romulan, Christine Chappelle, I think she was a nurse. I'm not too familiar with the original series. I watched it like twice, but didn't pay too much attention to it the first time, and a lot of these characters, they're just not very regular, like the nurses. And then Spock, who is the first officer, and Hikaru Sulu. So yeah, that is that. Overall, it's a decent deck. Has most of the major characters, except for Voyager that got shafted. It is Brit size, in case I didn't mention it. Smooth plastic coated fittest. That being said, it actually doesn't handle too bad. Pretty happy with that. And there's actually a little border detail, at least on this side, from the ship, which adds a little nice element. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the deck as a Star Trek fan. I really wanted to get it because it covers all the series up until that point in time. So that was really cool, because there's other decks out there, the Next Generation or the original series. Not really anything that is Voyager, Deep Space Nine, or Enterprise. So that was a big selling point for me. Unfortunately, it ended up costing me more than I would have liked, and I had to basically get it twice, but only received it once. But that's, story for another time. So that is that. I'm not going to rate it because of what it is, just a promotional advertising type deck. Not the most artistic or anything, but it's pretty nice. Nice details on the faces. Overall, pretty cool deck, in my opinion. And that is that. Let me know what you think. Comment, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Sorry if this is a bit long. Sorry about all the background stuff. I apologize.